What's up, guys? This is Tyler from Division 1 Trading. This is our free Forex and Indices course. So in this one, we're going to be going over the 4 pillars of a great trader. It's basically the trading sphere is what I call it, or all the aspects to trading that I think are most important. So first, we're going to have fundamental. That's our news cycle, our interest rates, things like that, home prices. Then we have our technical side, which is just us looking at setups. That's our trend lines, our consolidation patterns, our breakout patterns. Psychological, that's going to be what do we do with our trades? How are we managing our trades? How are we executing our trades? Are we getting FOMO? Are we getting greedy? Are we being fearful? All that. And then organizational is how clean are your charts? Do you have a million lines over there, or is it easy for you to see? And are you tracking your trades and progressing? I really don't think that you can progress as a trader without tracking your trades and going back through them. I recommend doing it at the end of the week or the end of the month. But you have to be organized. I feel like that's the biggest thing that most people miss in trading is that the importance of the organizational side, because that organizational side is just so looked over. So the fundamental technical, again, that's our news, and there's long-term news such as interest rate, and there's short-term news such as what were the housing prices this month, or non-farm payroll, right? What were the payrolls this month? That's more short-term news. And then our technical analysis is, like I said, our trend lines, our breakouts, our consolidations. Now, in my opinion, right, there's a lot of strictly fundamental traders and there's a lot of strictly technical traders. I like to blend them. And personally, with the way that I use my system, you have to use both. You have to blend the technicals with the fundamentals if you want high probability, because if you're not going to blend them, you're not going to have high probability in there. So this is what we use for our news. Our news cycles, we go to investing.com/economic calendar. And this will bring up here. And you can go ahead and filter that. There's a little button up here. You can filter it. I only use 2-star and 3-star, which is medium impact. And then the 3-star is high impact. And I don't really care for the numbers, honestly. I'm just looking for the impact and the time. And then I let the technicals kind of tell me what's going on. So for example, hypothetical. Let's say right here we knew US dollar had a high impact news at 9 o'clock. Well, right here, when we have our consolidation pattern, this is just an old school little cup and handle pattern. So when we get this consolidation, we're looking for news to be right where we're looking for our trade setup. So if we're looking right here, a breakout, we would want to see news occurring right here where we're expecting that breakout. And then when we blend those two together, we get better probability than if we wouldn't have used the news and just looked at technicals. The psychological and the risk side, right? That's that third pillar. Main things are fear and greed. Everything psychological is going to revolve something around fear and something around greed. And it's a balancing beam between the two. So this is going to be performance based, right? It's going to be the do or die. Your technicals and your fundamentals are important, but your psychological is going to be the most important, because if you do not have a good psychological game as far as trading, then your technicals and your fundamentals just kind of fall right out the window. To me, especially when I first started really working on the psychological side, it feels like a trust fall. Y'all know those, like, probably in high school, and it was probably in the 2010s, where people would just wrap up and fall backwards, right? And it's called a trust fall. And that is kind of what your system feels like. There's this point where you're falling backwards, trusting that your system is going to catch you. Sometimes you're going to have losses, sometimes you're going to have wins, but you have to consistently go for that same trust fall. You have to be vulnerable in that aspect. Again, so what helps us with this is, in the beginning, learning through demo, right? Now, as you get further and further into your trading journey, once you have mastered your technical side, once you have mastered your fundamental side, demo is not going to be a great help at mastering the psychological side, because it's fake money, right? It's paper trading. So what you have to do is you have to dip your feet into the pool slow, right? Don't lose a ton of money, right? If you just do a cannonball and you don't know how to swim, you're probably not going to do all right. But if you just dip your toes in the water and then you slowly introduce yourself to it, it's a lot easier to learn that way. Then you have your management organization side, right? This is going to be your discipline as far as time management, even showing up to the charts, right? Whatever your session is, and we'll cover how to pick your session. Whatever your session is going to be, you have to consistently show up to that session, right? If it's going to be London, you have to consistently show up. If it's going to be New York, you have to consistently show up. Same time, every day. You also have to be disciplined with your trade management. Whatever trade you're taking, you're looking at the same time for the same trade every single day. And that can get very monotonous. It can get very boring, but it's part of the organizational side that you have to submit to. And again, I already mentioned this, but the trade logs, I don't think that you can get better without studying your trades and looking at your mistakes. I really do believe that that is important. And so going back to this bell curve, I think that, I mentioned this before as well, but the number one question I get is, when am I going to be profitable? How long does it take? So your profitability journey will 100% depend on these 4 pillars and how well and how fast you can pick them up. Your journey to profitability will have a beginning, it'll have a middle, and it'll have an end. Again, if you laid this on everyone that ever started trying to trade, the majority would land somewhere, or really somewhere in here in the middle, because it's going to be an even distribution. A lot of people will start trading and they'll make it a little bit, but they'll give up. Most people are going to fall somewhere between here and here, and they're going to be plotted somewhere where they got to about the middle. Maybe they started getting toward profitability and then they gave up. The 5 to 10% are going to be down here. They're going to get to that ending side and make it into profitability. That is the trading sphere and the 4 pillars of trading, and I will see you guys in the next video.